and we're going to switch to the main system. We'll see you after the service.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Glory. Oh, I have to mute myself.
Thank you.
Batya Ben David happens to be the parent of one very special cantor here. And she had been up there on our screen, the mom. Only one Ben David could be spotlighted at once. And we know at Temple Sholem how that one goes. Which one? Batya, you'll have more opportunities. I promise you that. Shabbat Shalom. When I was walking in here, just a little bit ago, I went and I got my talit, and someone said as they were walking in, Terry Rudich, that walking in here into the sanctuary feels like coming into a giant hug. And I'll say that I've been, and Cantor has been, and Rabbi has been in this sanctuary many times where there's no one in it. And when there's no one in the sanctuary, it feels holy and majestic. But I don't know that it feels like there's this giant hug. But being able to see all of our friends here that are joining us from their homes and coming in, seeing everyone in here, in this sanctuary, now this feels like a giant hug. So why don't we all wish each other a Shabbat Shalom? And exactly, and you know, and I'll say that we won't even go and try to give each other a giant elbow, but instead just wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom in our hearts, online, and being able to start this service this evening with a little bit of well-needed strength to be able to walk through this life, which is a very narrow bridge. And the key is, the ikar, the essence is, don't be so afraid. But you know what? If we're afraid, let's be here together, and then we'll be less afraid.
So on page 643, you know, one of the things at camp we used to do when we sang this is like, we'd make the bridge. But I think it just sort of, you know, you could just sort of like do it as a hug if you want to as well. So we start off by saying, Kol haolam kulo gasher tsar meod, gasher tsar meod, gasher tsar meod. Kol haolam kulo gasher tsar meod. Gasher tsar meod. Ready? V'haikar, v'haikar, lo lefached klal. 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 Kol haolam kulo gasher tsar meod, gasher tsar meod, gasher tsar meod. Kol haolam kulo gasher tsar meod, gasher tsar meod. At home and here, start clapping. Here we go. V'haikar, v'haikar, lo lefached klal. V'haikar,
והייתה לא לפחד לה. So it's good to see everyone here and everyone at home. Those who are joining us on Facebook now or those who might join us later, we're so glad for us all to be together. And we all need this lift on this Shabbat, to feel ourselves lifted as one Sholem community. This has been a lonely time. And then, just when it seemed like we were seeing the light at the end of that dark COVID tunnel, then violence in Israel and Gaza erupted and the world became dark again, and our hearts have been broken by so many innocent lives lost, so many living in fear. And then it felt lonelier still as anti-Semitism has erupted across the globe and hitting so close to home at the Persian synagogue in Skokie. And my Eli, a 13-year-old whose weekly TikTok hours I'd be embarrassed to log, has asked why Zionism has become associated with hate. And I asked the same question. I found myself shouting at news stories, trying to fill in the details that were missed, unintentionally, intentionally. And I have felt shouted at by so much of social media. So we need this place of quiet to collect our thoughts, to process our feelings, and become lifted in prayer. In short, we need a sanctuary of shalom. We need this sanctuary of shalom. Because it's here where we feel ourselves seen, where we're invited to be heard, where we can disagree with each other and not be disagreeable about it, even about things with which or about which we have our biggest opinions. Tonight, maybe more than ever, we need to be lifted, and this lift on Shabbat. So isn't it fitting that we do this kind of gathering, all of us, on a Torah portion, on a Shabbat whose Torah portion is naso? The name itself means to lift. And it comes from that direction for how the Israelites need to be counted when taking a census of the people. And in this week, it's really about how we make sure that those who are doing holy work in this world are being counted. Their heads, our heads, need to be lifted. And one midrash says that this is so that God can marvel at the unique face of each individual and shower us in divine love. Well, that's a nice way to be welcomed into Shabbat. So may we find solace and celebration on this Shabbat. Friendship in this community, lifted by prayer, recognized for our whole selves, even through confusion, even through disagreement, even through pain, so that our whole selves are recognized as holy and good, and to be able to gather on this Shabbat, where many of us know this is one of the very most special Shabbatot of the year, when our seniors will not only share with us their wisdom, but they'll give us an opportunity to bless them. Beautiful. So now I want to say a hearty mazel tov, or mazal tov, to the Moradi family. Firstly, Ethan, who is a senior, is graduating right at this moment. So we say mazal tov to him, and we loved hearing his wisdom last week. We want to say mazal tov to the Liskar family, to the Perlin and Frankel family. I think you're in different spots, and it's great to see you. And also to the Schnitz and Gelb and Roseth families. And as we turn to page 120, we have another very special mazal tov, and that's to the Frankel family. as Judah becomes a bar mitzvah tomorrow. His whole Torah portion, you can come on up here, all of you, please. His whole Torah portion is about kindling the lights because he has an afternoon bar mitzvah. And so at that time, we'll be reading from Bahalotacha. And in that, we see that the very first action is bringing light into the Holy of Holies. How fitting then that this incredible family is going to bring light, the light of Shabbat, right into this sanctuary and right there at home. So Noah and Catherine, Sarai and Judah, Mazal Tov, we are grateful that you are bringing the light of yourselves and the light of Shabbat into our midst. We don't always make it easy, and that's why we have really long matches. Beautiful, thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you so much. And what an honor now that we are going to have our Kiddush on page 123. Rachel Lipson, who makes so much of what we do at Temple Sholem work, especially through our religious school and through all of our youth engagement. She makes sure that everything runs well. And so, Rachel, we are honored that tonight you will be spotlighted to be able to lead us in Kiddush or in Kiddush. Oh, that's wonderful to see you. And I'll say that always we'll say to everyone that you can rise in spirit. And that means that you can embody how you rise in spirit in any way that is physically accessible to you. And also I'll say that you can see how you can have transcription if you're joining us from home by being able to hit the caption, and then you'll be able to see that you can have that for you to make sure that if you need that, you have that there. And I'll say finally that it's wonderful, Rachel, that you're leading us in Kiddush. Again, it's page 123. We rise in spirit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש Hashabbat.
L'chaim. I was toasting anyone. And so I'll say, if anything has felt like a hug from angels, certainly hearing you sing did. So if you were standing, you can have a seat. And it's wonderful that now Rabbi Singer will join us to lead our service. So in a week that has been filled with stress and angst and frustration for some of us, especially as Rabbi Conover said, those of us who have been spending way too much time on social media, it's an awesome reminder in Lecha Dodi, which means, come my beloved, that each and every one of us has belovedness within us, and that it's our job to see the belovedness or the beloved in anybody who we encounter, whether their belovedness is really clear to us right away, or whether it takes a little bit of work for us to see it. So we turn to page 138 and sing together Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Yishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shmo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki makor habaracha, Mirosh mikedem nasucha, Sof maaseh b'machashav v'tchila. Lecha Dodi Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, Ki va'orech u'miori, uri shir daveri, Kavod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise. Let's welcome the Sabbath bride as we face the entrance. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'tzola, Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Please be seated. We turn to page 142 and greet the angels of Shabbat in Shalom Aleichem.
This is Debbie Friedman's last great gift to us, this melody of Shalom Aleichem. And the other great gift she gave us is something I would like to invite you with tonight. On the 4th verse, instead of Seitchem, we say Shuvchem, like our Shuvah, like our Shabbat Shuvah, we return again. And so here we are. Welcome, Shuvchem. You'll find me, I'll find you. Let's sing together. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, מלאכי עליון מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שלום עליכם שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש הקדוש ברוך הוא לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שלום עליכם שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש הקדוש ברוך הוא שובכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא Let's listen to each other Shalom Aleichem Shalom Aleichem Malachi Hasharet Malachi Elyon Melech Malchi Hamlachim HaKadosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
I'm going to call up one of our awesome high schoolers, Addison Baker, to lead us in Shema and Ve'ahavta, and he's going to come join us on the bima here. We are on page 152, and one thing a nice moment that we had, I hope this isn't embarrassing, Addison. I asked him a question earlier, and he said, you know, this is my first time, one of my first times in this sanctuary with people in it, and I said, you know what, me too. So I'm so glad that we're leading these prayers together.
I just whispered to Addison, wait a second, because we're going to do Baruch Hu. Will you please rise for our call to worship? Page 146. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשופך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשופך ובקומך ושמתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Beautiful, thank you. I hope that's not the last time a rabbi calls you up for the wrong prayer. So thank you. We now invite up our incredible youth group director, Esther Fishbein, to lead us in Micha Mocha. And just think about how Micha Mocha, how freedom is about putting one foot forward in front of the other at a time. Slowly we march towards it together.
Micha Mocha Bailim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilot, Oh Seifelem, Nora Tehilot, Oh Seifelem, Micha Mocha Bailim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Bakodesh, Nedar Bakodesh.
Yes. Thank you, Esther.
We turn to page 160 for Hashkivenu, where we pray for God's love and protection.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim, lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim, lechaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Yashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim
On page 165. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We rise in spirit on page 164 for our Amidah. And we invite Asher Grossman to lead us in the beginning of our Amidah.
Adonai sefate tiftahu fi tehillatech. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, El Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imaho, V'mevii Gula Livnei Binyan, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Chazer U'Shio Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Yisrael Tzedakah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחוקר חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורה, ומדום אליו, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אותה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמחך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יחולו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Part of Shabbat is allowing us to sit in the power of silence, to hear our inner voices, to reflect on what's really going on inside of us, to think about what we need to think about, and to let go of what we need to let go. So we take a few moments for quiet prayer and reflection, and when you're done, you can be seated. We invite Charlotte Gaskins with her dad Philippe to lead us in Noshei Shalom.
Exit.
Well, this is such a wonderful time to be able to follow our wonderful rabbi's kavanah or intention of being able to sit in silence a little longer as we are able to find, it might be Eileen Goldman. There we are.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, we were muted.
Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al chol Yisrael, v'imru, imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al chol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Well, thank you. We take time now to pray for the immense healing that the world needs. Healing, the whole world needs healing of mind, healing of body, and healing of spirit. So if there's somebody who you're thinking of, we're going to start with the people in the room, then we're going to move to the people on Zoom, and then I'm going to read out loud the names in the chat. So if you're in the room and there's a name that you'd like to share of somebody you're thinking of right now, please feel free to share their names out loud. And if you're on Zoom, feel free to unmute yourself and share a name out loud.
Susie Schaub,
Kathy Christopher.
Diane Revels.
Evan Harrison.
Stuart Greenfield.
Ari Wilkenfeld.
David Naren.
We add to those names Stan Gross, Betsy Gross, Lily Nelson, Elizabeth De Bruyne, Alex Jaladen, Diane Revels, Jonathan Spitz, Elaine Baddock, Louisa Joya, Brian Britton, Candy Roller, Marge Goldberg, Ruth Offler, Cheryl Tanita, Rick Kogan, Vicki Hodges, David Naren, Ed Davis, Barbara Sussman, Don Sable, Jim Clemens, Pam Solnay, Ella Wexler, Hazel Golden Lee, Ronnie and Marissa Green, Larry Goldenberg, Larry Golden, Flo Bernberg, Robert Tarnoff, T. Howe, Pearl Lerner, Mahalia Sobani, James Amick, and all of the people who have been injured and made homeless in Israel, Palestine, and Gaza. We turn to page 371 and we recite Misha Berach together.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Makor HaBracha Ve'imoteinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishamelach imotenu makor habracha liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body. And let us say Amen.
Cancer, don't go anywhere, because great things often come in threes. So I've said the Shehachianu twice. Once yesterday, just in the last 24 hours. Once yesterday when we were in Kaddish Rabbanan, and we heard news of a ceasefire that we pray will last forever. And so we, as a group, gathered together on Zoom. We sang the Shehachianu to mark that moment in time. Again, we hope that we'll never have to say a Shehachianu for those moments again, because God willing, this sticks forever through eternity. And then tonight, before we opened up our doors, we gathered with the staff, and we sang Shehachianu to be able to mark this time of being able to come together again as a community. I think it might be working again. Yes. I don't know. I'm so glad, because we said the Shehachianu as a staff before we opened to be able to mark this incredible occasion. And then there's this upcoming moment. Before we invite the seniors up here, we have some birthday blessings to do. Oh my goodness. And so we invite you on Zoom to identify yourselves whose birthdays we are celebrating this month of May. So you can just be able to raise your hand however you will. And if you're here in this community that's in the sanctuary right now, and May is your birthday month, you can either rise or you could raise a hand, so we all know who in this moment we're able to bless, to wish birthday blessings on. That we pray that this month, this year I love this. Yes, yes, please. Oh, it seemed like you were going to be so shy, and now look at how many birthdays we have. Joan, please, I love that you're identifying yourself over here. Howard, I'm glad that Janine is helping you to also identify yourself. So, and those of you, and we love seeing all of those of you on Zoom whose birthday we celebrate this month. I'm looking closely, and it's great to see you. Oh, including Brian Lightman and Jennifer. It's wonderful, and I wish that I could see everyone close enough. Oh, Amy. And who else is this here? Oh, I'm so happy to see all of you who have birthdays this month. We pray that this year ahead for all of you is filled with adventures that feel like fun. That you have moments of being able to go out and also go in order to find those different kinds of adventures that you seek. That this is also a year of satisfaction, of doing things that make you proud of who you really are. And we also pray that this year you'll have many, many moments of laughter with good friends, with community. And may you feel yourselves embraced in this year ahead with new life, renewed, alive, and grateful. And with that, we say the Shehachianu, thanking God for giving us life, sustaining us, and allowing us to reach this moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu Tasman Amen. To be serenaded by you guys, by this trio on Shabbat. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And now we get to hear from some of our magnificent seniors. And so we will invite first Eleanor Geld and then Eli Perlin and finally Rebecca Schnitz to be able to share with us some reflections of their time at Temple Sholom.
I've never been able to wrap my head around the notion that there is an anthropomorphic God in the sky watching over the world. I always had too many questions. Who is this man? What is his name? Where did he come from? Who chose him? The list goes on. The spiritual doubt always put me at a standstill in my journey with my Jewish identity. I never felt as connected to the community as I assumed others had felt. To this day, I still feel that way sometimes. But I know that my Jewish identity is ever changing and I am ready for that. As a child, I was never as secure in my religious identity as I am now. My mom was born into a Catholic family, while my dad was born into a Jewish family. My parents, both being mostly secular, decided for our family to celebrate Catholic and Jewish holidays. This decision led to me having a muddled religious identity. Traditionally in Judaism, a child's mother must be Jewish for them to be Jewish. But I always felt a stronger connection to Judaism than Catholicism. So, with a push from my Jewish grandfather, I got my parents to sign me up for a religious school. Synagogue grew to be the place where I could be myself. To put it simply, I began to overconsume Judaism in a good way. By going to temple as much as 4 times a week for bat mitzvah practice, midweek Hebrew, and Hebrew school, I formed connections with the most amazing people and experienced the most amazing things. Though the journey has been difficult, I would not change anything. Pursuing Judaism has pushed me into the most welcoming community I have ever experienced, and for that I am grateful. Still, after connecting with religion, I never believed in God. That was the case until we went through a certain exercise during a senior seminar during March. As a group, we looked at a comparison of how Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 try to answer the question, why do human beings exist? Before we explored this question, Rabbi Conover asked us to write down a few ideas about our beliefs in God. For a few seconds, I sat there feeling very perturbed. I remember having a tiring day, and the last thing I wanted to do was tackle one of the largest concepts in religion. Time seemed to slow down as I struggled to put my beliefs into words. I didn't even want to acknowledge that there could be something bigger than I know in this world. I'm a realist and very independent, which is why I've always disliked the idea of relying on something that is not even tangible to take care of my life. Still staring into space, I decided to stop being hard on myself and just let my thoughts flow onto the legal pad in front of me. With about 5 minutes, I was able to construct this vision of God. God is not a man, not a woman, not even a living, breathing being. To me, God is an energy. This energy comes from people in numbers. When calling upon God, I am not calling to the man with a long white beard. I am calling for the positive energy from this congregation, my neighborhood, my friends, and my family, some of which could very well be men with white beards, just not the one in the sky. One of the most dominant places where I feel this energy is at Temple Shalom. Here I am uplifted by the clergy, staff, congregation, my peers, and teachers alike. The energy that all of these people exude is how God comes through in my life. I know that I will always have this community to fall back on, which gives me great comfort as I move forward to the next phase of my life. This fall, I will be attending the University of Connecticut through the Honors and Law program. There, I will join the Hillel alongside the numerous friends I've already made throughout my journey to college so far. I look forward to joining this new community, for I know that it will be as welcoming as Temple Shalom was to me at a time when I felt so lost within my own identity. Thank you.
Yeshua, so beautiful. Thank you, Eleanor. I love all of that wisdom, and I know that some people especially appreciated your saying that you wrote down in a legal pad. I think there were a lot of people here who said, see, even that generation uses paper sometimes. Eli, we're so looking forward to hearing from you. Eleanor, thank you again and again.
Much of our preparation for graduation has revolved around reflection. Our senior seminar meetings focused on having us reflect on what Judaism has meant to us and what Temple Sholom and the Jewish community means to us. Beginning this journey of reflection, we discussed a TED Talk given by Rabbi B'nai Lappi. During this talk, the rabbi presents the theory that everyone has a master story. Each person is living the story of their lives with a specific narrative that they choose. Then, some event will take place and break this narrative of the master story, and a person will crash. To deal with the crash, people have three responses. They may pretend that nothing changed, and through denial, they keep their original story intact. Another response is completely rejecting their original narrative and creating a whole new story. They forget the past and move on. The final option is to rewrite their master story. They take the things that they valued before the crash and what they learned and rewrite their original narrative. We all are constantly changing our master stories. There are small and big crashes that define all of us. One of the larger crashes in my life was moving to Chicago. My dad had just gotten a new job at a synagogue I'd never been to in a city I knew almost nothing about. My master story completely changed, and the previous narrative I had was thrown out. While this crash may have seemed scary to begin with, it was necessary and would eventually be seen as a good thing. One of the first communities that I felt a part of after I moved was Crown Family and Temple Sholom. They accepted me and allowed me to continue my Jewish education, passion for social justice, and the opportunity to be a part of a close-knit Jewish community. Without Judaism in my life, this community would never have existed. It was the similar experiences growing up in Sunday school and at Jewish summer camp that made Crown Family so easy to become a part of. While my master story had changed, the values that I believed in and were taught stayed the same. For me, Judaism has always been a set of values that guide my actions. The teachings and discussions we have are always centered around how we live our life and how we act towards others. Through senior seminar, I have learned that there's never a straight answer to most of the Jewish philosophical questions you could come up with. The questions, is God real, or why do good people suffer, may never be able to be answered in a simple sentence. However, there's always a little bit of unknown in our master stories. This questioning and curiosity of our master stories is necessary. It allows us to adapt and change them when we have a crash. Even though there's not a clear answer when asking these questions, our Jewish values help guide us. Even though we may not know why good people suffer, it doesn't stop us from reaching out or helping someone else who is suffering or experiencing a crash. The events we go through in life are necessary for shaping these master stories. While a crash may seem difficult when it happens, eventually we understand how to overcome it. It's the Jewish values that I've been taught and the Jewish community I know that allows me to face and accept crashes when they occur. When reflecting on my time at Temple Sholom, I've realized that this is the community I turn to and will turn to most of the time a crash occurs. Whether that is through my friends at the high school or advice from the rabbis, cantor, or many other Temple Sholom staff, I know they will always be there to help. With the help and support of my community, crashes become manageable. It's the support of my Jewish community that I will remember and continue to always rely on. Thank you, Temple Sholom, for being such a supportive community over the past 4 years.
Yeshua, so beautiful, Eli. And we are grateful that your dad Jeremy Perlin got a job as executive director in that synagogue that you were talking about, and that brought you here. So grateful. And Rebecca, we're looking forward to hearing from you. Wonderful to see you this evening.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. My name is Rebecca Schnitz, and I'm so honored to be speaking to all of you tonight. I moved to Temple Sholem in 6th grade from a small temple in Evanston, and I still remember the moment of stepping foot into temple for the first time and gazing up at this beautiful and historic building. I remember feeling an instant connection to Temple Sholem and the community it represents. That feeling has stayed with me through my time here at Temple Sholem. On Wednesday night this week, at my final Crown family dinner, I was sitting on the bima and was thinking about the many milestones along my religious journey and the community that helped me along the way. One of the biggest being my bat mitzvah. Every Jewish person talks about how amazing it is to become a bat mitzvah. Everyone explains to you that you're about to accomplish something incredible. But during the process of being a bat mitzvah, I was so focused on memorizing and practicing my prayers that it was not until I experienced standing in front of all my family and friends, reading my Torah portion, that I understood how extraordinary it feels. My mom will tell you that the night after my bat mitzvah, I told her that all I wanted was to be back on the bima doing it all over again. When I became a bat mitzvah, I was relieved to have finished Sunday school and would no longer need to wake up early and spend my mornings rushing to temple, probably getting there 30 minutes late. However, when my mom bribed me to go to 2 Crown family nights for $20, I decided to give it a try. I surprisingly found myself willingly going back every week for our Wednesday night dinners, and I'm pretty sure my mom never paid me. When asked in a senior seminar, what are the things in life that make me the happiest, I realized through Crown family that Temple Sholem is something that makes me the happiest. I valued having a special community away from homework, school, and family. Crown family provided me with a support system, and it gave me a place where I can learn about another side of my identity that honestly I did not think that much about before my bat mitzvah. The beauty of Judaism here at Temple is you can believe in almost anything you want and still be Jewish. One of the questions that was asked of us in senior seminar is there a larger significance? And after pondering this question for a while, I realized that my views on this question have changed every year I've been at Temple. And the beauty of Temple Sholem is that every congregant here will probably have a slightly different answer or something vastly different. This environment of openness to all beliefs didn't bring me farther away from Judaism, it only made me closer. Finally, one of my favorite parts of Temple Sholem is the clergy. They have always been encouraging me to think about those difficult life questions, and they made me look past my small responsibilities to the bigger meaning of my life. Rabbi Conover, Rabbi Gelman, Jay Rappaport, Cantor Ben David have always challenged, engaged, and propelled me forward through my last 4 years. I'd also like to thank Caleb Bromberg, our old youth group leader, and Esther, our new youth group leader, who I had the honor of working with this year. They have always welcomed and encouraged me, and they have shown me the importance of having a Jewish community. I will forever cherish all the memories and friends I've made here at Temple Sholem. Thank you for showing me how much I love being Jewish. Thank you.
Yasher Koach, I love that. And what's so exciting with what you've shared with us is that, that when you become a senior, you get to go through all of this. But future seniors will also really get to know Rabbi Singer. And that, for all of us who have gotten to learn with you, Rabbi Singer, we all feel better for it. And yet still look at how brilliant these seniors are, even though they didn't get to learn with you so often. Just imagine the rest of you. I'm looking at you, Judah Frankel, and you, Sarai. Conover boys, I'm looking right at you. We invite now and are so grateful to have our seniors, all of them. So all of them except for Ethan Moradi, who gets an excuse because he graduated from high school today. We invite Eli Perlin, Eleanor Gelb, Rebecca Schnitz, Rachel Liskar, and Isabel Roseth to join us here at the Ark. And we invite the rest of the congregation, please, to, whether you're here or you're at home, to rise in spirit as we have the honor to bless these magnificent seniors in front of the ark. And so as we lead into this time to be able to bless you with a threefold benediction, we'll figure this out. Yeah, I think this is like that nice little circle. Isn't this perfect? I love it. We can kind of circle up just a little bit here, but leaving a little bit of space for the congregation to complete our circle. So of course this week, this Torah portion, Naso, also has in it our threefold benediction. So our Yivarechacha, this moment of being able to bless and be blessed. And so we have this idea of Yivarechacha, to bless. And I'll say that blessing comes from that barech, to be able to bend our knees, to be able to get humble. And I just want to say, I'll start with you, Rachel, that to be able to see the way that you have, like when you get humble, you also get closer to the ground. You can listen better. I don't know that I've experienced someone who listens as well as you do, and then asks the most insightful questions, and then offers these wise responses. It's amazing. And so we have this idea of being protected, being guarded, Bishmarecha. And I'm looking at you, Eleanor, because I feel like part of what you do in life is you make sure that those around you feel protected, feel safe. It's a real gift that you have, and you've done that, and I love that you've done that with your older sister, not just your younger sister, and all of us who know you. It's really beautiful. And then we have this idea of Ya'er Adonai Panav Elecha, this notion of light shining through. And you could tell, Rebecca, I was going to look straight at you, that you bring such light in just by you being yourself. You always make all of us feel seen and welcomed, and that is just beautiful and appreciated. And then we have this notion, Vichuneka, which is chen, which is grace, which is goodness, which is Isabel. Isabel, you bring so much grace into every room you enter, because you are someone who has this presence about you, insightful, quiet, and beautiful. And you step in to situations so that way you can be able to both bring your grace to it and also find the grace within moments. And then we have this idea of Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha, to lift. Eli, how did you just step in and step up right away? I remember, I think we all remember, being here and having so much devastation happen within the Jewish community and around us in communities of color. And what did you do? But you came up on the bima and you talked about your experience around gun violence and being able to lead a walkout in your school. And this is just after you came to Chicago. You lifted up important causes, and more than that, you lifted this community to see where we needed to step in, like you step in. And so for all of us then, all of us together, you're an embodiment of this blessing. And that's how then we can feel ourselves blessed always. You might be leaving here to go to college, but you're going to leave an imprint here when you go to college. And we'll always keep a spot for you, always to return here, always, always. You are our blessings, and we are very grateful.
I missed you guys so much. Well, I mean, I've been seeing you, but I missed hearing you, and I hope that you missed hearing each other. So you're going to help me with this blessing, with these words of Kain Yehi Ratzon. We are saying, may it be God's will, all these blessings we wish for you. So it's just Kain Yehi Ratzon. And then our rabbis will take it from there, and Jay.
And if you have anything in your hands, like a prayer book or anything else, you can just put it right down. You can leave your hands free to bless these beautiful human beings in prayer. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ken yehi ratzon. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Ken yehi ratzon. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Ken yehi ratzon. Ken yehi ratzon.
May God's light shine upon you and feel gracious to you.
May you always feel yourselves lifted by a presence that's greater than you are, that also is that loving presence that brings you peace. Ken yehi ratzon. Mazel tov. Of course, we have some gifts for you, because how could we not? You need some things from us as you go upon your way. So I know that Jay is going to present you just with a little something. There's also a little something else that you're going to get in the mail as well. And if you're standing, you can be seated.
Are you ready to walk? You want to come up? Rachel, Lisker? Here you go, Mazel Tov.
Oh, you know, this is where the jazz hands come in.
Isabel Rosette, Mazel Tov. Eli Perlin, Mazel Tov. Eleanor Gelb, Mazel Tov. Rebecca Schnitz, Mazel Tov. And we're sending you all on your way with some good books as well. So you'll also each be getting a copy from us of a little traveling Mishkan Tefillah, our Siddur, and a traveling Torah. So you won't be without us. Congratulations to you all. We love you.
Mazel tov. Well, we don't know about the public. This particular public humiliation has ended. So in awe of what you bring to this community and every community you enter. So I think we have some special announcements tonight.
Well, I'm going to take it with I just saw it, and I saw the term challah, and so I'm going to grab this first one. We have an adult ed siyum. It's called Challah Conversations. I love that. Sunday, May 23rd at 9:30 a.m. You're going to learn to make challah from our congregants and staff. You're going to join Amanda Rios-Leibowitz, Julia Logan, Jody Marathi, and Emma Harmon. I know these people. If you don't know how to bake by the end of this, you're in trouble for a morning of swapping challah stories and recipes. So please join that on Sunday, May 23rd at 9:30.
That's wonderful. And on Sunday, on May 23rd at 3 o'clock, you can join author Fern Schumer Chapman with the Women of Temple Sholem in their book discussion as she shares her remarkable mother-daughter Holocaust story in her memoir, Motherland, which is a finalist for a National Jewish Book Award. And so this should not be missed. It's going to be a very meaningful discussion. And then what else do we have?
And we have two very exciting conversations coming up. One is on Tuesday, May 25th at 12 p.m., and it's called Congregational Conversations, Reform Judaism, and the Divisiveness of Politics. And essentially, it's a question of what does Judaism say about the state and nature of political discourse in America? And it's taught by Dr. Andrew Rayfeld, who is the new HUC-JAR president, or yes, that's his title.
That is his title.
Yes. He's the new president of the Reform Rabbinical School, and he is a really, really smart guy.
And he's going to be facilitating a discussion with many rabbis in this area. So that should be fascinating and wonderful. And you want to tell us about our next conversation?
Sure. And then a week from tomorrow, on Saturday, May 29th at 12 p.m., we are going to have a conversation across this congregation for anybody who wants to join, just about any thoughts and feelings that have come up with all of the events in Israel and Gaza in the last week and the resulting kind of global conversation. Please feel free to bring your whole self and your whole respectful self, and we're just going to sit and both speak and listen to one another.
The whole cantor is coming to that. Yes. And the whole suite of rabbis as well. Yes. Yes. And it should be hopefully really both informative and also a great time to process in our community. And that's going to be accessible through Zoom. And so with all of that, then, we turn now to page 586 to the bottom of that page as we rise in spirit for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
On page 594, as our thoughts turn to those who have parted from this earth, but who are still very much with us in spirit, continuing to lift us, I'll share these words written or at least translated by Chaim Stern. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. So we remember now those who recently parted from this earth. We send our condolences to the families of Arnold E. Pearl, Ronald Burstein, Barbara Keller Taylor, Whitney Meister O'Connell, Claire Moses, Dr. Eugene L. Bronstein, Judith Getzels, Stephanie Myers, and Zoe Nussbaum. We also are marking the yard site on this Shabbat of Jerome Brown, Lori Brown, Melvin DeGraff, Jody Dicker, Gertrude Fishman, Marshall Goldman, Clara Golub, Isaac Hecker, Max Jacobson, Esther J., Dr. Harry King, Dorothy Lampson, Saul Landau, Barry Levine, Richard Littner, Marion Mendels, Mortimer Miller, Bessie Nemero, Bernard W. Newman, Philip Prince, Percy Burton Revels, Ruth Resnick, Inez Isabella Ringland, Albert Rosenberg, Robert Ross, Elizabeth Samuels, Sydney Shapiro, Dolores Stillman, Tom Trabasso, John M. Winston, and Julian I. Zinder. We also invite you to first, if there are people on Zoom that would like to unmute to say the name of those you're remembering, I invite you to do so now.
Cindy
Evelyn
Ruda,
Cutler.
Cindy Pettis,
Roberta Kay and Rebecca Luker.
And for those of you who are remembering someone someone whom you're remembering, but you're sharing it with us from this sanctuary, I invite you to share that name. And Joseph Howard, Eleanor Goldman, Dr. Susan Sipes, and Howard V. Hone, Sandra Goincher, and all those who we're thinking about. We then praise God for the gift of memory with our Kadishia Tome, our Mourner's Kaddish, page 598.
Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yamad Yivrach Yerutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayachon V'yomachon, V'chayei L'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav V'zman Kariv Yimru, Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Ulamei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shemei D'Kudusha Abrechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, Damiran v'yalma v'imru,
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru,
Amen.
Oseh shalom nimromav,
U'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen.
Oseh shalom nimromav, U'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru. Amen.
And Eli Curran will lead us in our motzi. And Eli, who becomes bar mitzvah a week from tomorrow. Love to see all of you. Eli, will you take it away, please? And can you pass us some challah afterwards?
Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Will somebody please take a bite? Sydney, did you make that challah? Will you take a bite of it just so we can all live a little vicariously through you? And
I mean, like, I'll eat it whole. Don't. I mean,
and
don't have
all
to
right,
call
thank
me.
you. All right, wow. And please be careful with that knife. Thank you, Curran family. We invite our Director of Lifelong Learning, Jay Rappaport, to lead us in Lador Vador, words that are not found in the prayer book, but certainly words that will be living in our hearts and swimming in our ears for quite some time. It's a perfect way to be able to serenade our beautiful seniors and their families, and the way in which Temple Sholem has been their family.
I'm thinking about a few groups of our teens who I'm really feeling grateful for tonight. One group is our Madrahim, who this year stepped up and volunteered to help out in our religious school. There were 36 of them that did that. I don't think that's a coincidence that we got a double high, beautiful Jewish number of them who were willing to step up and help in this tough year and make such an incredible impact on our younger children. I'm thinking about our Crown Family High School students, several of whom are graduating tonight, and the way that they went on a journey with us this year. We studied Torah and text in the parking lot. We had dinner in a bring your own chair event on our front steps. And eventually we made our way back into the sanctuary together to wrap up our year in such a beautiful way. And we're so glad that they stuck with us on Zoom, in person, and all around. And of course, I'm thinking about our Or Shalom High School Youth Board. Our 3 co-presidents are here, Rachel and Eli and Rebecca. Eleanor was also on our board. Natalie was also on our board. And I know Sydney's watching at home, and she was on our board. We're so grateful to our board for helping us to make a lot of big decisions this year. And we felt really good about those decisions, knowing that they were made with you and that we could figure this stuff out together. So thank you all for stepping up this year in a big way. And I'm really excited that we just elected a new board for the next year, and you'll get to know them over the next year as well. But we're really excited about them as well. They have some great footsteps to follow, and we know they're ready to step up too. So with all of them in mind, and a lot of gratitude for everything that we've been through together this year, that we've been together this year, Lador Vador. You are gifts, and you are blessings. You are history in song. You are hope, and you are healing, and you are learning to be strong. You are words, and you are stories. You are pictures of the past. You are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Vador Vador, Nagid God Lecha. Vador Vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. Vador Vador, these lips will praise your name. And we're going to sing that last part again in case you want to just jump in with us. Vador Vador, Nagid God Lecha. Vador Vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. Vador Vador, these lips will praise your name. Mazel Tov. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And as we conclude our service, Mink Yushin and Ethan Parcell and Hannah Bureau, wow, to have these musicians, oh my gosh. To all of our staff that made tonight happen. You know, our clergy, we said, we have to do this. And then our staff said, yes, we have to do this. And then together we did this. And so a big thank you to our paparazzi here, Jeremy Perlin, our executive director, Julie Adler, oh my gosh, Allison Barker, Lori Curtis. Toby, Toby Sanders, will you just show yourself for a moment? Chelsea DePlanty, and Isabel Sobel, and our magnificent, extraordinary, here day in, day out, getting everything set up and doing it with such love, his entire team. Cornelia Scruggs, oh my gosh, thank you. Dominique, I don't know if you can show yourself. Steve, Dominique Red, and Steve, we are just so grateful for everyone who made this happen because we're so grateful for this community. We love you. We love you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So now, as we get ready, some of us will join in an oneg over here. Some of us are going to take a cookie to go for an oneg. We're going to exit out these back doors through Lakeshore Lobby. You'll see that it's easy to be able to follow it around. If you are a senior, or if you have a senior in high school, or if you are the family of a senior in high school, Or heck, you know what? Even if you are just not just, but a rising senior, please stay. So yes, Rosetta's family, you thought you were going to leave, but no, we want you to stay just for a few minutes.